And if this is your first time, all you gotta do is subscribe, and you'll get a little bell right here. That will be notification bell, and hit that one. Thank you. Hello, man. What's your name?
My name is Chong Lang.
And I'm Abby.
Name?
My name is Elsie.
What's your name?
I'm Naya.
What's your name?
And Yi.
Okay, we would like to talk about interracial marriage. What is your view on interracial marriage?
I think it's great. I think that if people want to intermarry, I think that's lovely and wonderful.
What about you? What is your view on interracial marriage?
I think it's a good thing. I think there's a lot of diversity in the world, and why not keep continuing doing that? I don't think love knows any gender or any race, so I don't think people should be limited to who they want to marry. So.
What do you think about interracial marriage?
I feel the same way. I don't feel like race really matters when it comes to loving someone.
Okay.
I think if you want to marry someone of a different race than you, then there should be nothing stopping you from that.
Okay. And so, what is your view on interracial marriage? What do you think when people from different backgrounds come together and try to make a family? So, what is your view on that?
For me, I think it's okay. I'm not offended, but as in my culture, I really believe that you should marry the same your race. So it's easier for your wife and then for your parents to communicate and then to carry your culture further.
What about you? Do you think your family will be offended if you bring someone who is out of your race?
Yes. So in my culture, dating isn't really a thing. So maybe 2 years ago, I started dating for the first time, and I dated a guy. He was white and Cuban, and I brought him home, and my mom and dad were very angry.
Okay.
and just because one, dating isn't a thing in my culture, and then two, it was a white man, so they were like, how could you do this?
How dare you do that?
Yeah, kind of. And so it was kind of hurtful, but that's how they took it.
Okay, what about your family? If you bring someone who is out of your race, do you think your family will be offended, or they will be okay with that?
My family is very inclusive, so we don't really care about anything like people who are from different races. My parents don't mind me dating. I dated a white guy before, so my parents don't mind me dating or marrying anybody like that. So, yeah, we're very inclusive in our culture.
Okay, so what you gonna do? What about you? What do you think?
And he said, I'm not offended, but then as long as you're happy with who you love and it makes you happy, that's it. Yeah. It kind of involves in culture too, but the big thing is about the religion part. It's kind of difficult if you have two different religions trying to come together to make a difference, but then I think that should be fine if there's always a way around it.
Okay. Do you think your family will be offended if you bring a black guy or Latino guy or an Asian dude or someone who's actually out of your race? Do you think it'll be...
I don't think my parents would be offended, but I know that maybe some of my older family members, older grandparents or older aunts and uncles, maybe would be offended. I want to say no, because I would really hope that they wouldn't be, but it's very possible that just that older generation, they aren't used to interracial couples. It wasn't very common when they were growing up and when they were my age. So maybe.
So you think that your family will be totally fine with that if you marry someone who is actually out of your race? Is that what you're telling me right now?
Yeah, so my family is pretty flexible about it, but my dad's side, he preferred someone as the same culture, but he just preferred that, but he's fine about it too. So he said, just go find someone else, or no, just go find someone who you love, and as long as you're happy, it doesn't have to be someone with the same race or ethnicity as you.
Oh, that's pretty cool. What about... Okay, let me ask you this question. you are in love with this guy and you guys been dating for a little bit. I mean, like the guy that you mentioned earlier. So you guys decided to get married, but your family kind of rejecting you. I mean, trying to say like, maybe you should find another guy. I mean, you can do better than stuff like that. So are you gonna turn down your family or your lover? So this is actually a little battle.
So as I started like dating this guy or whatever, like at first my mom and dad were like not for it, but like later on they had to warm up to it because like I was getting serious into the relationship, and I was telling them like this is someone that I want to marry one day. So like you have to accept him, you know what I mean? And I think like for that it takes time, but I think that they like warmed up to it. But it doesn't matter because I broke up with them.
Oh, you broke up with him?
I did.
For the fact that if your family, you were in love with this guy and you've been dating for a little bit, and you just tell your family that you want to marry this guy and they reject it. So what would be your reaction to that?
It will depend on why they reject the person, because I think my parents raised me, so they obviously know.
Because of his different race or his different ethnicity, or is not our.
I think the only thing that would be an issue would be religion, if he wasn't a Christian. But my parents wouldn't tell me or forbid me to not marry the person. They will advise me not to, but then they will let me make my own decisions.
Okay.
No, because listen. Okay, I respect my family,
Okay.
But like, let's
But in
say.
a sense, they're wrong.
Yeah, because it's like
that's not morally right.
This is who I love, and like
Yeah.
because he's like white or Mexican or whatever, like you're gonna reject him. And like, what if I like what if I don't want to marry someone that's like in my own like culture or like ethnicity, like then what? And then I'm not gonna marry anybody? Like we gotta draw a line. So right, I'll be single for life is what's gonna happen.
I mean,
You gotta draw a line,
But then, what you think? So your family will be totally fine with that if you bring someone who is black or white or Latino, someone actually who is not your race. Do you think your family will be totally fine with that, or they will just gonna be a little bit hesitant on or reject or something like that?
I think my parents will like totally like reject. Cause cause
That's good.
cause like they just like prefer me to like date like someone that like the same race. Yeah.
So was it a different race?
No.
Was it has to do with your family issue? Is that why you break up with him, or?
No, I think that made it hard, but like there was just things in the relationship that.
You choose your family over everything. Is that what's going on? Kind of. I mean.
No, not necessarily. I think the family thing, like not them being like agreeing, made it really hard. But I think there was just like things happening in our relationship that didn't agree with like my own faith, and I didn't feel like this was a healthy relationship for me.
Is that what you're gonna do? The same thing?
Well, if my parents say no, then I wouldn't like just let her go, but just wait and to see what happens, because things can change during like a short or long time. But if your parents really love you and stuff, they would agree with you and go with you, and that's what I think.
You've been in love with this guy for almost 3 years, 4 years, and you just bring it home and tell your family like, I want to marry this guy, and your family actually turn you down and say like, they just reject him, say like, no, you're gonna marry, he's black or he's Asian, and we don't marry those kind of people. So what will be your view on that? What you gonna say about that?
Ooh, I would probably get really mad if that was the only reason they didn't want me to be with this guy. I would probably go off on them. I'm pretty comfortable with my parents and my family members, and so I would probably defend him in that way. If they gave me other reasons, like maybe they thought he was rude to me or wasn't treating me well, I would take that into consideration, but at the end of the day, I would probably just think about the relationship for myself and think, hey, is this healthy for me? Is this going to go in the direction that I want it to? Is, you know,
Well,
is
the guy, he's
he,
a really great guy, and he really treats you right, and you know everything's going pretty good, except that your family doesn't really want you to date someone who is out of your race. That's the only issue.
I think it would be really hard and it would cause me a lot of stress.
What would be a decision? Would you go with actually go with your boyfriend, who is actually your fiance right now, technically, but
Okay.
or with your family?
That's a really hard question because I love my family.
I mean, you can't really turn down your family.
It's like the love of your life.
This is the love of your life.
Oh my goodness. This would cause me so much stress if
Right.
this was actually happening. You have no idea. Like, I'm stressed out just by the
Right.
question.
Already
I
heated.
feel like I would probably choose my family because my family has been there for me my whole life and they've always been so supportive of me. For them to not be supportive of this one thing in my life would be very hurtful, and they wouldn't get away